Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another championship run, a power shift that could leave division rivals stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before we dive in, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and fellow Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news. All right, folks, today we're here to talk about some pretty tough news that just hit the Steelers camp. And if you're a true Steelers supporter, you know that every season brings its ups and downs, but losing a veteran like Lowry for the whole year, that's a blow that definitely raises some eyebrows. We're talking about a player who, despite not being a star, brought a lot of veteran leadership and depth to the defensive line. And it's not just about the loss, it's about what it means for the team's defensive strategy moving forward, especially in a division as competitive as the AFC North. So, what exactly happened? Well, during Wednesday's practice in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, a place that's become synonymous with Steelers training camp over the years, Lowry suffered a knee injury. And from the initial reports, it's serious enough that he's now out for the season. That's right. Folks, the veteran defensive tackle, who was expected to bring some much-needed stability to the interior line, is now on injured reserve, with the team having to scramble to fill that gap. And for those of you who might not remember, Lowry came to Pittsburgh after being released by the Minnesota Vikings following the 2023 season. He's a guy with a solid NFL resume, especially with the Green Bay Packers, where he put together some pretty good years as a rotational guy. But here's the thing. Last season, Lowry wasn't exactly a game-changer for the Vikings. He played in 12 games, registered only 1 sack, and made just 5 tackles. Not eye-popping numbers by any stretch, but his veteran presence and experience in the trenches were valuable, especially in a rotation that sometimes struggled with consistency. Still, he was seen as an important piece in providing depth for the Steelers, a team that has been trying to rebuild its defensive line to be more disruptive and tougher against the run and pass. Now, with that injury, the Steelers are forced to look elsewhere, and they've already taken action by signing nose tackle Breiden Fehoko to fill the void left by Lowry. Fehoko, for those who follow the league closely, is a player with a different profile. He is known for his strength and ability to clog running lanes, and he has been developing as a rotational player himself. His signing indicates that the Steelers are serious about maintaining that defensive line depth, especially as they navigate through the injuries that have plagued their front seven. But let us not forget this isn't just about filling the roster spot. It's about how this injury impacts the overall scheme, especially in a division that's loaded with offensive powerhouses like Joe Burrow's Bengals, Lamar Jackson's Ravens, and the resurgence of the Browns with their new quarterback plans. Now, what about Lowry himself? Well, he has been battling injuries since last season. Remember, he tore his pectoral muscle, which ended his stint with the Vikings prematurely. That injury, combined with a calf issue during training camp, hampered his ability to get fully acclimated with the team. And that's part of the reason he didn't have a huge impact last year. But Lowry's experience and leadership are still valuable, and it's unfortunate that he'll have to watch from the sidelines this season. Of course, if the Steelers don't release him from injured reserve, he's done for the year. But there's always a chance they might explore an injury settlement, especially if they determine the injury isn't as severe as initially feared. This could open the door for Lowry to potentially return to the NFL next season, perhaps with a different team or even rejoining the Steelers if circumstances allow. And speaking of the defensive line, the Steelers haven't been immune to injuries overall. Just recently, they also released another defensive tackle, Jacob Slade, after he suffered a knee injury. It's clear that the front line has taken a hit, and that's a concern for a team that prides itself on a stout defense. Plus, there's Esezi Atamwo, another young defensive tackle who has been dealing with a knee issue, missing the last couple of practices. These injuries are piling up, and it's testing the depth and resilience of Pittsburgh's defensive front. It's a situation that fans need to keep an eye on because how the team responds to these setbacks could define their season. Now, I want to take a step back for a moment and talk about the bigger picture here. The Steelers have always been a team built on resilience, tough defense, and smart coaching. Mike Tomlin, one of the most respected head coaches in NFL history, has a way of getting the best out of his players, even in adverse situations. But this season, the challenge is even greater. The AFC North is as competitive as ever. The Bengals, with Joe Burrow and that explosive offense, are looking to make another deep playoff run. The Ravens have revamped their offense around Lamar Jackson, and their defense is still formidable. And the Cleveland Browns, with their new weapons and a solid defense, are looking to turn things around after some rough seasons. So every injury, every setback, adds a layer of difficulty to Pittsburgh's quest for a division title and a deep playoff run. But let us not forget the Steelers have a history of overcoming adversity. They've had seasons where injuries decimated their roster, yet they found ways to compete. The emergence of young players, the strategic adjustments by the coaching staff, and that gritty Steelers mentality have always been their hallmark. And I have no doubt that this season, even with the loss of Lowry, the team will rally. Players like Cam Hayward, T.J. Watt, and Minkah Fitzpatrick are still anchors on that defense, and they will be the leaders guiding the young talent stepping up in the coming weeks. Now, coming back to the draft and roster building, Pittsburgh has always been smart about adding depth and developing talent. The signing of Fehoko is part of that plan, but it also raises questions about how the team will fill other gaps in the front seven. Will they look to outside free agents? Will young players step up and seize the opportunity? That's what makes this season so intriguing. Every game, every snap counts, and the Steelers' coaching staff will need to get creative to keep that defense formidable. And for fans, this is a critical moment to stay engaged. Injuries are part of football, but it's how teams respond that truly defines their character. The Steelers have a rich history of overcoming obstacles, and this season is no different. The team's leadership, both on and off the field, will be tested, but if there's one thing Steelers fans know well, it's never to count out Pittsburgh. They've been the underdog before, and they've come out on top more times than most teams in the league. So in the coming weeks, keep a close eye on how the team adjusts, how new players like Fehoko fit into the defensive scheme, and how young talents emerge to fill the void left by veteran players. It's going to be a season full of challenges, surprises, and hopefully moments of brilliance. The Steelers are known for their grit, their resilience, and that never-say-die attitude. And even with these setbacks, I believe they'll find a way to stay competitive, to fight for that division crown, and to make some noise in the playoffs once again. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. And here's the thing, folks, this injury to Lowry might be a setback, but it also creates opportunities for other players to step up. The Steelers have a deep pool of young talent, and some of these guys are itching to prove themselves on the big stage. The defense, which has been a cornerstone of Pittsburgh's success for decades, will have to adapt and evolve. That's what makes following this team so exciting: the unpredictability, the resilience, and the relentless drive to succeed despite adversity. As we look ahead, it's important to remember that the Steelers have always been a team that fights through the tough times. From the days of the Steel Curtain to the recent Super Bowl appearances, they've repeatedly shown that they can overcome injuries, setbacks, and tough opponents. This season might have its hurdles, but I wouldn't bet against Pittsburgh bouncing back, rallying together, and fighting their way toward another playoff appearance. The division is tough, yes, but the Steelers have that special edge, that never-quit attitude that has defined them for generations. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this injury situation? Do you think the team can withstand the blow and still contend for another division title? Who do you believe will step up in Lowry's absence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. We in this together, and I can't wait to see how this season unfolds with all its twists and turns. Thanks for being part of this passionate Steelers family, and as always, let us keep that faith alive, because in Pittsburgh, we never give up. We fight, we believe, and we're always ready for the next challenge. See you soon, and go Steelers.